Batista defending his new world title against Triple H. We should mention that on the April 11th Raw, it was announced that Batista would defend the championship against Triple H at Backlash. And after Triple H invokes his rematch clause, the following week, Triple H has a no DQ match against Jim Ross, which JR wins by pin. That's a real thing. After Batista interfered and of course hit Triple H in the head with a chair. On the April 25th Raw, Batista would defeat Christian in a singles match. And after the match, Triple H assaulted Batista, hits him with the pedigree. And I guess the story here is these guys get a ton of time, 16 minutes and 27 seconds. WWE was promoting it as Triple H versus Batista 2, but Wade would say it was a sequel that didn't deliver. He says their first match at WrestleMania was hardly a classic for the ages, but they took a step back with their rematch. Wade would say that Batista received great pops on the recent European tour, but didn't get the same reception in New Hampshire here from a crowd that seemed to had already peaked during the Hulk Hogan Shawn Michaels match. And he would be critical of the work, saying the plodding, methodical match was safe, but it didn't put Batista in a position to fail by being too ambitious. This cautious approach left the fans nonplussed. The in-ring styles of Hunter and Batista don't complement each other. Ric Flair at ringside for Hunter tried to interject some energy to the match as he attempted to interfere several times, but the match was built around whether Hunter could execute the pedigree, hyped as his ultimate weapon to knock out Batista. He did hit it late in the match, but the ref was knocked out and he couldn't make the count before Batista had time to recover. Batista then survived a low blow and repeated interference from Flair and picked up the win with the Batista bomb. It's, I don't know. In hindsight, should the Hogan Shawn match have closed? Should it have been earlier in the show? Should there have been a let me up match in between? What was the flaw here that maybe didn't make the main event feel as special?
Well, I think it's a combination of a couple of things, in that New Hampshire being Triple H's hometown, he also didn't have as many heel fans there that wanted to see him get his ass kicked. And I don't know, it just was, you have an off night. Had we moved Hogan and Shawn earlier, I wouldn't have closed with Hogan and Shawn at all. I definitely would have closed with Hunter and Batista. That, without a doubt, was the only thing to close with. But maybe moving Shawn and them to second or third in the night, or even starting it off, I think that would have made a big difference.
Let's mention this is going to lead to a third match between these guys at the Vengeance pay-per-view. This time it's a Hell in a Cell, which Batista would also win. Let me ask you, when you have a main event at WrestleMania that, while yes, it drew money, it wasn't a great match. You try again here at Backlash, and now you're going to do it one more time at Vengeance. Are you just saying, hey, this is the story we had, damn the torpedoes, we're going to do it? Or did you think, no, this was good stuff, let's do a little more?
It may have not been the greatest match, 18-star match in the fucking Korea Dome or whatever, but it was a good story, and it was a story that had a lot of equity in it, and it was a good story that people were interested in and wanted to see. So while it may not have been the masterpiece that Wade Keller and Dave Meltzer would have wanted, it is a hell of a story that people were interested in.
Well, they were interested in it. I mean, I can't argue that. I mean, the build up in the story was tremendous. I do think a lot of wrestling fans were, I don't know, not necessarily super excited about the actual match, but what we were excited to do is let you guys ask Bruce some questions. We made a post on Twitter at Prichard Show on an upcoming Something to Wrestle. We're covering WWE Backlash 2005. Have questions? Leave them in the replies and use the hashtag #AskBruce. Let's get to it, Bruce. We'll try to do as many as we can here. Prime wants to know, this time had rising stars like Shelton Benjamin and Edge. While Edge's star power rose during this time, it seemed like Benjamin was falling down the ladder as time went on. With Dave Batista and Shelton Benjamin being former OVW guys, I have to ask, how big is Batista's dick? Lots of people want to know, including our man Concussed Jones. How would Vince describe Viscera's chest?
Massive.
He let us down. Drew Landry wants to know, word on the street was Triple H didn't like losing, especially in big spots. Bruce, was this true with Bautista? There's been lots of criticism over the years about Triple H and politics, but I feel like he would have probably taken pride in helping, quote unquote, make his former stablemate Bautista, right?
Yeah. And again, like just the other day on SmackDown, going through all of his WrestleMania, where he's lost the majority of his WrestleMania matches. It's just hilarious that narrative that people have is positively crazy. Yes, he took great pride in making other talent.
Hey, I know we're not going to talk about current stuff, but since you brought it up, as a wrestling fan, I got to tell you, it was pretty cool to see Vince McMahon on stage, sort of out of character, busting Triple H's balls. Was that fun for you to watch too?
Yeah, very much so.
Concussed Jones writes, I absolutely love the Tajiri Regal pairing. Do you think they could have done more with them? Did you know straight away that they were magic together?
Well, we knew straight away as soon as we put them together backstage, and I thought that we got a shitload out of them. They were so fucking entertaining and never disappointed with any material you gave them. Tajiri would make it his own.
The Rosencoaster writes, what did Vince think of Christian's promo towards John Cena? On the surface, I'm guessing if he's cutting a promo on Cena at the pay-per-view, there's plans for him in the title picture. What changed Vince's mind on Christian as a main event performer?
I don't know that he had any designs on Christian being a main event performer at that point. I think that took a few years before he got to that point.
Stuart Walter brings up a question that I've gotten a lot, I guess maybe in the last 2 years. Top to bottom, which roster was more talented, the Attitude Era or the Ruthless Aggression Era?
That's a hell of a question, because they were both so unique. And the Attitude Era, you can't even say that the Attitude Era had more veterans on it, because I think that there were still so many that were coming up, like Rock coming up and Triple H coming up, that were new talent. Mick Foley had a little bit of time. Steve had a little bit of time elsewhere. I think they're equal yet different.
I'm going Ruthless Aggression Era. RJ wants to know, in your opinion, is Jericho the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time?
It's a honky tonk man, baby. Greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time.
Captain Zach wants to know, why was Hogan used here in random pay-per-views like Backlash? He usually only appeared at WrestleMania and SummerSlam type shows during this era.
What?
Yeah.
He wasn't there during the era when we were doing our pay-per-views all the time.
Instagram, a wrestling historian writes, was Marty Jannetty ever proposed to be Shawn Michaels' partner before it was revealed to be Hulk Hogan? I know that sounds silly, but let's go down the rabbit hole. Had the whole Hulk Hogan Hassan thing not happened at WrestleMania, the storyline of, hey, Shawn needs a partner, that could have been fun for it to be a payoff for Marty Jannetty, and you guys would have enjoyed firing him for the 38th time, right?
Conrad, that's stupid. Don't think of something stupid like that. Don't hit me with stupid shit no more.